All right, here we go again. Buckle up, rough roads ahead. So we have kind of a nice day here in Overland Park. There it is. A little hydrated here. Just a mezuzah. Definitely they've been working overtime, casting spells, cursing. So somebody's claiming that, I don't know how old his son is now, but a 17-year-old son, I don't know if it's now he's 17 or 17 in 2023. He came from Venezuela. He's been with him his whole life. He's never been part of a gang. He's never been accused of crime. Works at some warehouse. It just wasn't at work that day because he wasn't needed. There was, I guess, immigration activity at the building that they live in, and he was a collateral arrest. But he has a court date and all those things. So I'm not sure where we are with all of that. Because, like I said, you're creating, again, it goes back to the president committing crimes. The president can commit crimes and not be arrested, but he can't commit crimes for the sake of crimes. So when the Supreme Court looks at the administration and looks at El Salvador, again, remember Trump's not the first administration that gets sued or whatever it is. In fact, Republicans sued the Biden administration and won in several cases. Right. Thanks, Larry. So when you say it's part of your right for foreign diplomacy to select and negotiate with El Salvador and to put them in CCOT and all that, it really isn't when it's not lawful. So again, you're taking something that's a very powerful ability and power of the executive branch and misoperating it. And it's going to get shut down as far as El Salvador. The court can find that you cannot use El Salvador because they will call the process something corrupt, illegal, criminal. They will call the government of El Salvador something. You see, you don't want those findings. Because once that finding occurs, then findings all across the United States will be similar to that finding on all sorts of things. You're going to ruin everything. You're going to be so constrained. It's not even going to be funny. There's ways to do things, and if you do them that way, they can't do that to you. No, the court will find the government of El Salvador, something. I don't know if they're going to call it a rogue government, a criminal government. I don't know what they're going to call it. A government that's not under our control, and we're negotiating with them in process that can't be negotiated because there's, administrative errors. I don't think that one was administrative error. I don't know if maybe he's a gang member. I don't know. But if we got cops and people in ICE just calling people gang members, that's going to destroy everything. Because you see already now, they're increasing the process you have to go through before you can get to even deportation. Which means you're going to eventually have to prove in a court of law, a full trial, that this person is something before you get rid of them. Because you played games with it. No, these people that condemn me aren't smarter than me. Because what's going to happen is you're going to be shut down. And in fact, they use my information that I gave them starting in like 2007, 2008, and updating routinely is probably the only thing that works. Right? Those processes work, but you can't abuse it. You have to move it correctly. So if you're just out there calling people, we call people pedophiles and they screw their life over, I guess they do the same thing there. It's not a big deal to them. They'll just call them gang members and, stick to their guns, right? Right. Meanwhile, if you try, go to one of those fruit warehouses in New York and you're paying twice as much for that cheap fruit you used to get. Because nobody's there to work and pick and ship and all that. Again, I'm your best friend. Right. The court is going to shut down El Salvador, and it's going to shut down your deportation process because of mishandling. Again, they can appoint a special master over you. They can say you're a bunch of clowns. They can outright stand there and say you're a bunch of clowns that are irresponsible and have no clue what you're supposed to do. Therefore, we're going to appoint a special master. Right. And that person's going to run all this. And then, hire an army of people to oversee all of you. Correct. You've still not provided to the federal court proof that any of the people are who you say they are. Right. But you think you won because you went out in the news and went, blah, 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 blah. Unelected. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. I'm beginning to wonder if I'm not in your stuff, maybe none of you would have succeeded. Question is, would Pam Bondi succeed against the pill mills if I wasn't a power in that? That's the question. I can't touch any of your stuff, any of you. I can't be in there with you. You're all filth. You kill everybody around you that's anybody. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. There's a reason Trump's up in Michigan. He's looked at the stats. He lost all his support, or enough of his support, where he's now the underdog. Right? If the election was today, Kamala Harris would win. Correct. Michigan. I'm just telling you the truth. If you don't like the truth, the Bible says things about people who don't like the truth. I'll use that. Sorry. Oh, you don't want to be part of a church? You want to send your people in there that are filling all of you to do dirty in the church that's trying to recruit me into their church? Then we'll go back to the other guy. And then you lost credibility to say, if he would just do something different, we would do something different. Right. Now the dirty, rotten scoundrels. Oh, but look at the cases they've worked on. It's a grifter thing. It's a scam. They put a couple cases behind them, or even a million cases at this point of their life. But you know what they're doing with child sex trafficking and pedophilia and all that? Their people get to be child sex traffickers. Their people get to be pedophiles. They just got to pay their dues, or pay the fee, the kickback, or they're all in the take, right? And then they run after. It's a perfect system. The missing exploited children arrests the competition. That's what, or indicate to arrest the competition. They make phone calls. Right. Right. Look, they've said enough over the years to say that what I'm saying is 100% real. Right. We agree there. Again, what they do is they get some big people stuck in something like Epstein, and then they're like, yeah, you only arrest the people that these people say you should arrest, because, of course, then they get off the hook. But again, they're the people that stuck you in. No, they did it before, too. I mean, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to do anything. Oh, you've done too much. That's what it is. They're all full of shit. No, Trump lost Michigan for good, most likely. But you can't. All right, the indicators are recession. The indicators are inflation. Okay? Let's get real. Let's look at what the indicators are. You can't build Detroit in a recession with inflation. 100%. But yeah, you just go out there in the news, go. I mean, when you run an election, when you're the odd man out, when you're not in the system, they'll say, okay, you're not part of the system. You come in, and you'll fix everything. But when you're the it, smart people won't listen to you. Right. You're going to say, well, Biden required us to do this. Biden required us to lie to people about what you were going to do once you got elected. Biden required you to run programs irresponsibly, so that judges will shut it all down. It's only 100 days. If you probably look at who had the most judicial orders coming against him in the first 100 days, it's probably all of you, because you're doing it wrong. In fact, some of it's illegal. You're putting everybody out there knows how to do anything. And the other people won't even want to tell you how to do anything, because you'll get mad and put them out. Right. It's only been 100 days, and you already got tons of court orders coming against you. It's not that the judges are doing anything different. They may actually be bending over backwards somewhat for you, at least in the beginning. And we got so bad the Supreme Court had to, make these like just in the air rulings on like a Saturday or something. Just so you wouldn't kidnap somebody and send them somewhere and say, oh, that's the worst criminal we've ever seen. I mean, what does that look like? It looks like deep state. It's what the deep state does. Right. I mean, how do we know you're not going to do the same stuff and everything else you do? And I don't even know if you're doing anything else. Are you doing narcotics control? Are you actually engaged in stopping sex trafficking and prostitution? Or are you just grabbing people on the street and throwing them out of the country and just calling them criminals all day? For all we know, the real sex traffickers are sitting up in $1 million homes. They're not sitting there in those, people running it aren't sitting down in those little buildings. Right. And they're donating to Trump and they're donating to Biden. And they're saying Larry's a bad guy. That's who runs all that. They're not living in some tenement. Correct. They're up in the high rise in Manhattan where you don't go. In fact, they probably live in Trump buildings. I mean, you got to wake up, all of you, before it all gets shut down. You spend all week in court just proving that you're not doing what everybody says you're doing. Because there's a mounting amount of evidence that you're clowns. Don't think you came up with the answer to law enforcement and enforcement when you're just clowns. Well, I'm a collateral, right? 100%. Again, he's working. He has so. Well, he's taking a seat in the detention centers, on the planes, on the buses, when he doesn't need to be there. Now, at this point, he's in CCOT. So even if he is a collateral, what's he doing in CCOT? Doesn't have one single tattoo. Create something with Maduro and just return them to Venezuela. I don't understand it. You know, we're going to take him out in the next 2 years, like they said 10 years ago? 5 years ago? Correct. Because he's a communist? He's not a communist. He really isn't. He's a despot, or what do they call it? No, what do they call Trump? A tyrant or whatever. Right. Not a communist, that's for sure. Chavez was a little bit of a communist. Thank you, Larry. Well, the idea is this also. If the CIA is trying to take him out, he's going to they wanted me to think that that was a cue and it's about the CIA, but somebody did something to my browser to cause an error, and they want me to think it's the CIA. Right. So it isn't. It doesn't matter at this point in my life. You understand that, all of you? You understand that? So I'll explain what happened. They're here trying to mess with it. Make sure everything's on. Hacking my stuff. But I'll explain what happened the best I can. And they're blocking it. So what happens is they attack my life, and I had, my disability would increase. I'd have like bad health for like a year till I could work out of it. We'll stay peaceful. Pray